My name's Abbey Phillipps and welcome to JMM Insights. Today I'm speaking with McLaren Minerals, ASX code MML, an Australian mineral sands developer advancing its flagship McLaren Titanium project in WA's the Eucla Basin. Following a series of company-defining milestones, including a major mineral resource upgrade and a successful capital raising. Joining me today is Managing Director Simon Finnis. Simon, thanks for joining me.
Good to be here. Thanks, Abby.
So, Simon, for people who are new to the story, can you give us a quick overview of McLaren Minerals and what you're focused on?
Yeah, sure. Look, we've got the McLaren Titanium project, which as the crow flies is about 300 k's north of Esperance, on the road about 350 kilometres. We grew the resource last year from around 280 million tonnes, which is size when we acquired it, to 529 million tonnes. So it becomes a very significant ore body. It is a very straightforward project, hardly any overburden, bulk tonnage potential, simple flow sheet, and logistics really work. So we really like the project. It is on the large side from a mineral sands deposit perspective, but we're trying to do it in a reasonable way, and we developed a PFS based on a plan and released that a couple of weeks ago.
McLaren has delivered a number of significant milestones recently. From your perspective, what do these achievements mean for the company's overall direction?
Well, certainly the PFS gave us enough confidence to move into the next phase, which is what we call a bankable feasibility study. It's just a high-level feasibility study, and the word bankable means you'll be able to finance it. We're now aggressively moving into that phase. We're planning the drilling now and all other aspects, including environmental approvals, more engineering, more test work. And look, what that means really is we're just taking another step towards developing this project where we are a developer, and we plan to develop this as soon as possible. And all the activities we're doing in the meantime are to that aim.
And how has the growth and increased confidence in the resource base influence your thinking around development and long-term planning?
Yeah, look, certainly there's been a lot of thinking about that since the resource upgrade came out. You know, what was obvious from the PFS announcement was we weren't really able to capture all the value in that large resource in the PFS. So we put forward a conceptual pit of around about 185 million tonnes. Of course, 185 out of 500 means you've left a lot in the ground, but we're now looking at ways that we would create, I guess, the base case for the bankable feasibility, and that would look at different options, whether it's more tonnage throughput, whether it's a different layout, et cetera. And we'll put forward a base case and get moving on that as soon as possible. But look, the resource just gives us so much confidence. Certainly there's some blue sky as well, and a blue sky to the south, blue sky to the west, and also some of our high-grade assays from last year are actually at depth. So certainly a lot of investigation, a lot of work to do this year, but certainly not anywhere near the bottom of the McLaren opportunity.
And what should investors be watching for over the next year as the project progresses towards potential production?
Yeah, look, all the normal things for a feasibility, they can be a little bit boring, but we're doing a lot of drilling. So we would see a resource update. We will see some assays announced, obviously, and we'll do a mining reserve for a bankable. Need to be a reserve and a mine plan. Look, we're moving into the environmental phase, so that'll take up some time. We'll do some more test work, so the results of that will probably be published, and certainly we'll go marketing. So we're looking to find a suitable off-taker or off-takers to support the project. It's one of the key planks in financing this thing. So that's another thing that'll happen in the next 6 months.
And Simon, how would you describe the quality and competitiveness of the McLaren project compared with other undeveloped mineral sands projects?
Yeah, look, it's different. They're all different, but this one's quite different in that it's just a sulfate ilmenite project. There's hardly any other elements, which includes just hardly any deleterious elements. So it's a very clean concentrate, very low levels of uranium and thorium, which can cause you problems. Obviously, in some projects, that's one of the revenue drivers, but in ours, this is really a selling point from a finished material point of view is low in UNTH. So that is a good selling point. They can then blend any material they buy with ours and perhaps blend some higher U plus TH material down into an acceptable range. So look, the McLaren project is different in that it is so simple. It's a sulfate ilmenite project, and that's the way we like it.
And do you see McLaren as a scalable, long life project with ongoing expansion potential?
Oh, for sure. Look, as I said, we did the PFS based on running around 12 million tonnes a year. That's a long time. That's a 40-year mine if you look at the whole resource. So look, we certainly think it's scalable. We're looking at those options, as we said, in the next few weeks, and we'll be working out what we think is the best plan going forward. Interestingly, this western shoreline we're talking about, I mean, it could be quite different. It's a different age shoreline, so it could be quite different again. So very interested to see how the year plays out with regards to the geology. But really, what we're developing here is the sulfate ilmenite project in McLaren, and for us, that's very exciting. It's interesting, we released a PFS NPV of 250 million, cash generation of 56 million every year, and the market didn't get excited. So we're a bit bemused by that. But anyway, we'll charge on. It's good for us, and we'll keep moving.
And how has the recent shareholder support and funding success strengthened McLaren's position at the stage of development?
I look huge, really. Putting $3.5 million in the bank at that stage of a project just shows that we do have a loyal band of shareholders that are willing to support the company. That's very, very important. Having a rights issue that was fully underwritten again shows that there is support outside of that shareholder base. And look, they ended up with nothing. They didn't get any shares there because the bid at the entitlement issue itself was 100% taken up by shareholders. So we've certainly got some demand out there that doesn't really show on the screen on the stock market. But look, we're very comfortable with the discussions we're having with potential shareholders, and we're encouraged by the fact that we raised $3.5 million last year reasonably easily.
And how does the Barossa acquisition complement the McLaren project and fit within the company's broader growth strategy?
Well, the good thing about Barossa is it's a different ore body again, so it has a very nice portion of the mineral suite in the zircon mineral, which is a high value mineral, different to McLaren. It's got some rutile. It's also got other ilmenites. So I guess in the fullness of time, that adds a project into our pipeline. Obviously, very early stages when it's compared to McLaren, but fullness of time, we want to build a company, not just a project. So this is project number 2. And once we get that into operation, all going well, warning forward statement, looking statement. Once we get that into production, we'll have a broad product suite that we can offer to the market.
And drawing on your experience, Simon, bringing projects into production, what does success look like for McLaren over the next few years?
Well, look, success, be measured in small steps initially, the feasibility of just building blocks to make sure you can fund the project. And we're confident, but we still need to do the work. So getting the funding arranged, getting offtake in place, getting a mining reserve that shows it's actually a real ore body, those are all very important things for us, and that'll lead to further success, no doubt. And a little bit of work probably at Barossa just to show the potential of that place. But certainly we're tying ourselves to the McLaren titanium project bandwagon, and all success in that area will really lead to company success as well.
Simon, thank you so much for your time today and walking us through the scale of the McLaren project. We look forward to watching the company progress.
Thanks, Abbey.